Hello, I am Ethan, and I will be your story narrator. Join me as we embark on an exciting journey through the chapters of this captivating tale. Together, we will explore the twists, turns, and adventures that await in each chapter. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into the story. Let us see the overall summary of this story. In a world where magical objects hold ancient wisdom, a young adventurer named Liam stumbles upon a mysterious compass. The compass is said to have the power to guide its bearer to their true purpose in life. However, the compass has been lost for centuries, and legends speak of a series of trials that one must overcome to unlock its full potential. Throughout the story, Liam embarks on a journey to unlock the secrets of the compass, meeting new allies, and facing daunting challenges along the way. Each chapter represents a new phase in his quest, filled with lessons about courage, friendship, wisdom, and the importance of self-discovery. The journey will take him across enchanted forests, treacherous mountains, and ancient ruins, ultimately leading him to a revelation that will change his life forever. Liam had always been drawn to the unknown. As a child, he would spend hours exploring the forests near his home, dreaming of grand adventures and hidden treasures. It was no surprise then that on his 16th birthday he set out for the distant town of Eldridge, a place known for its ancient markets and mysterious artifacts. Eldridge was a town unlike any other. Its cobblestone streets were lined with shops that seemed to have been plucked from another time. There were stores selling books with pages as old as the town itself, and stalls with trinkets from lands far beyond the horizon. But it was in a small, nearly forgotten shop at the end of a narrow alley that Liam's destiny was waiting. The shop was dimly lit, filled with dust and shadows. Shelves overflowed with strange items, an old leather-bound journal, a tarnished silver locket, a broken pocket watch. But it was the compass, lying quietly in a glass case, that caught Liam's eye. The compass was unlike any he had ever seen. Its face was marked with strange symbols, and its needle spun slowly, as if searching for something. It was old, worn from years of use, but there was something about it that spoke to Liam, something that whispered of adventure and secrets waiting to be uncovered. "That compass," came a voice from behind the counter. An old man, the shopkeeper, emerged from the shadows. His eyes were sharp, but there was a kindness in them that put Liam at ease. "It has been here for as long as I can remember, waiting for the right person to find it." Liam looked at the compass again. "What makes it so special?" The shopkeeper smiled, a secretive smile that made Liam's heart race. "This is no ordinary compass. It is said to guide its bearer to their true purpose in life, but only if they are worthy. Many have tried to unlock its secrets, but none have succeeded." Liam felt a thrill of excitement. "I will take it." The shopkeeper nodded, as if he had been expecting this answer. "Be warned, young adventurer. The path ahead will not be easy. The compass will test you in ways you cannot imagine. But if you are brave, if you are true, it will lead you to something greater than you can fathom." With those words echoing in his mind, Liam left the shop, the compass safely tucked in his pocket. Little did he know, his life was about to change forever. The Forest of Echoes was a place of whispers. The trees were tall and ancient, their branches twisting together to form a canopy that blocked out the sun. A thick mist hung in the air, swirling around Liam's feet as he walked. The path before him was barely visible, but the compass in his hand pulsed with a soft, steady glow, guiding him forward. Liam had heard stories of the Forest of Echoes. It was said to be a place where time stood still, where the past and present mingled together, and where the voices of those who had come before could still be heard, their words carried on the wind. It was a place of danger, but also of great wisdom, and Liam knew that he would need to be careful. As he ventured deeper into the forest, the whispers grew louder. They were not just the rustling of leaves or the creaking of branches, but voices, faint and distant, as if carried from another time. Liam paused, straining to hear. "Turn back," one voice whispered, filled with sorrow. "The path is too dangerous." "Do not be afraid," another said more softly. Trust in yourself and in the compass. Liam's heart pounded in his chest. He knew that these voices were echoes of those who had come before him, travelers who had walked this path long ago. Some had failed, and their regrets lingered in the air like ghosts. Others had succeeded, and their courage and wisdom had become a part of the forest itself. The compass pulsed again, urging him forward. Liam took a deep breath and continued on, his steps more cautious now. He knew that the forest was testing him, just as the shopkeeper had warned. It was a place where the past could overwhelm the present, where the mistakes of others could lead him astray if he was not careful. As he walked, the mist grew thicker, and the whispers louder. Liam could see shapes moving in the fog, shadows of figures from the past. Some were hunched over, defeated, while others stood tall, their eyes fixed on the path ahead. One figure, a woman dressed in old-fashioned armor, stepped out of the mist. Her face was stern, but there was a sadness in her eyes. "Do not make the same mistakes I did," she said. "I was too proud, too sure of myself. I ignored the warnings, and it cost me dearly." Liam nodded, her words sinking deep into his heart. He knew that he needed to learn from those who had come before, to listen to their warnings and heed their advice. The compass was not just a tool to guide him, it was a teacher showing him the way, but only if he was willing to learn. As the woman faded back into the mist, Liam felt a sense of resolve settle over him. He would not be like those who had failed before him. He would be strong, he would be wise, and he would trust in the compass. With renewed determination, Liam pressed on, the whispers fading as the mist began to lift. The trees parted, revealing a clearing bathed in golden light. At the center of the clearing was a stone pedestal, and on it rested a small, intricately carved box. The compass pulsed again, and Liam knew that this was the first of many trials. He approached the pedestal, his heart racing. The forest had tested his resolve, and now it was time to see if he was truly worthy of the compass's guidance. The Mountain of Mirrors was as daunting as its name suggested. Its peaks were sharp and jagged, cutting into the sky like the teeth of some great beast. The path leading up the mountain was narrow and steep, winding its way through a labyrinth of sheer cliffs and treacherous ledges. But it was not the physical danger that made the mountain so feared. It was the mirrors. The mirrors were not ordinary glass. They were polished stone, embedded into the very rock of the mountain. Each one was perfectly smooth, reflecting the world with an eerie clarity. As Liam climbed higher, he began to see his reflection everywhere, in the rock walls beside him, in the stones beneath his feet, even in the air around him. It was as if the mountain itself was watching him, waiting for him to falter. The compass, ever reliable, guided him forward, but Liam could feel his confidence wavering. The reflections showed him not as he saw himself, but as he truly was. Every flaw, every fear, every insecurity was laid bare before him. It was as if the mountain was peeling away the layers of his identity, revealing the raw, unfiltered truth beneath. At first, Liam tried to ignore the reflections. He focused on the path ahead, keeping his eyes fixed on the compass in his hand. But the mirrors were relentless. They surrounded him, their surfaces glinting in the dim light, showing him versions of himself that he had never wanted to see. In one mirror, he saw himself as a child, small and scared, running from shadows that loomed large in his mind. In another, he was a young man, struggling to meet the expectations of those around him, burdened by the fear of failure. In yet another, he saw himself as he was now, standing on the mountain, but his face was twisted with doubt, his eyes filled with uncertainty. Liam felt a pang of despair. Was this who he truly was? A frightened child, a man haunted by self-doubt? The mountain seemed to be mocking him, reflecting back his worst fears and insecurities. He wanted to turn away, to run back down the mountain and leave the mirrors behind. But the compass pulsed in his hand, a steady, comforting presence, reminding him of his purpose. Taking a deep breath, Liam forced himself to look at the reflections. He studied each one, allowing the emotions they stirred within him to rise to the surface. He saw the fear in the child's eyes, the doubt in the young man's expression, the uncertainty in his own face. And as he looked, he began to understand. These reflections were not just showing him his flaws. They were showing him the parts of himself that he had been too afraid to face. The child was scared, yes, but he was also brave, daring to confront the unknown. The young man was burdened by expectations, but he was also determined, pushing forward despite his fears. And Liam, standing on the mountain, was not just uncertain, he was also strong, having come this far in his journey. With this realization, something shifted within Liam. The fear and doubt that had weighed him down began to lift, replaced by a sense of acceptance. He understood now that these reflections were a part of him, but they did not define him. They were pieces of his past, fragments of his identity, but they did not dictate his future. Liam stood tall, his resolve strengthened. He would not let his fears control him. He would face them, acknowledge them, and move forward. The compass pulsed in his hand, and Liam knew that he had passed the mountain's test. The path ahead began to clear, the mirrors fading into the rock as if they had never been. The mountain, satisfied with the truth Liam had uncovered, allowed him to pass. As he climbed higher, the air grew thin, but Liam felt lighter, as if a great weight had been lifted from his shoulders. At the summit, he found a small crystalline spring, its waters clear and pure. The compass glowed brighter than ever, and Liam knew that this was the next piece of the puzzle. He filled a small vial with the spring water, feeling its coolness seep into his skin, and then turned to descend the mountain. He was ready for whatever lay ahead. The Valley of Shadows was a place where the light barely touched the ground, and darkness seemed to have a life of its own. The valley stretched out before Liam, a vast expanse of twisting shadows and faint glimmers of light that danced along the edges of the rocks. The air was thick with an eerie stillness, broken only by the occasional whisper of wind that stirred the shadows into motion. As Liam stepped into the valley, he felt a chill run down his spine. The compass in his hand gave off a faint glow, its light flickering like a candle in the wind. The path was unclear, obscured by shifting shadows that seemed to reach out towards him, their dark tendrils curling and twisting in the dim light. Every step Liam took felt uncertain, as if the ground beneath him could give way at any moment. The shadows played tricks on his eyes, creating illusions that made him question what was real and what was not. He saw figures moving in the darkness, shapes that seemed to appear and disappear in the blink of an eye. At times, it seemed as though the shadows were alive, sentient beings that watched his every move. But Liam knew that he could not let fear take hold of him. The Valley of Shadows was a test, just like the Forest of Echoes and the Mountain of Mirrors. It was a place where he would need to rely on the lessons he had learned, to trust in himself and in the compass that had guided him this far. He took a deep breath and focused on the compass. Its light, though faint, was steady, pointing him in the direction he needed to go. As he walked, he tried to ignore the shadows that swirled around him, the whispers that echoed in his ears, telling him to turn back, to give up. But Liam pressed on, his steps slow and measured. He knew that the shadows were trying to deceive him, to make him doubt himself and the path he was on. He reminded himself of the lessons he had learned on his journey. The importance of courage, the strength that came from facing his fears, and the power of self-belief. The further Liam walked into the valley, the more he began to notice something strange. Among the shadows, there were faint glimmers of light, small but constant. At first they were barely noticeable, just tiny sparks in the darkness. But as he continued, the lights grew brighter, piercing through the shadows like stars in a night sky. Liam realized that these lights were not random, they were a guide, just like the compass. They represented hope, the inner strength that had carried him through the trials he had faced. The valley was testing his ability to find light in the darkest of places, to hold on to hope even when surrounded by despair. As Liam followed the lights, the shadows began to recede, their hold on him weakening. The illusions that had plagued him started to fade, revealing the true path ahead. The whispers grew quieter, their taunts losing their power as Liam's confidence grew stronger. Finally, after what felt like hours of walking, Liam emerged from the valley. The darkness lifted, replaced by a soft golden light that bathed the landscape in warmth. He had passed the test of the Valley of Shadows, and with it he had gained a deeper understanding of himself and the journey he was on. Ahead of him lay the final challenge, and Liam knew that he was ready. The Temple of Truth was an imposing structure, carved into the side of a mountain, hidden from the world for centuries. Its stone walls were weathered by time, covered in ancient symbols and runes that glowed faintly in the dim light. The entrance was guarded by two massive stone doors, each etched with intricate patterns that seemed to shift and change as Liam approached. The compass in Liam's hand glowed brightly, its needle pointing straight ahead, as if urging him to take the final steps towards the temple. Liam felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension as he stood before the doors. This was the culmination of his journey, the place where he would finally uncover the truth that had been guiding him all along. Taking a deep breath, Liam pushed open the doors. They creaked loudly, echoing through the empty halls as he stepped inside. The temple was vast, its ceilings high and its walls lined with statues of ancient figures, their expressions solemn and wise. The air was thick with the scent of old stone and the weight of centuries of knowledge. At the center of the temple stood an altar, and on it rested a large, ornate chest, its surface covered in the same strange symbols that adorned the walls. The compass pulsed in Liam's hand, and he knew that this was what he had been searching for. But before he could reach the chest, a voice echoed through the chamber, deep and resonant. "To claim the truth, you must prove yourself worthy. The journey has tested your courage, your wisdom, and your resolve. Now you must face the final trial." Liam looked around, but there was no one else in the temple. The voice seemed to come from the very walls themselves, ancient and powerful. He knew that this was the final test, the one that would determine whether he was truly ready to unlock the secrets of the compass. The ground beneath Liam's feet began to shift, and the walls around him seemed to come to life. The statues turned to face him, their eyes glowing with an inner light. The symbols on the walls started to move, forming words that Liam could finally understand. "To unlock the chest, you must answer the riddle of the temple," the voice said. "What is the one thing that cannot be seen, but guides all who seek the truth?" Liam thought for a moment, his mind racing. He considered everything he had learned on his journey, the lessons the compass had taught him. He remembered the forest of echoes, the mountain of mirrors, the valley of shadows. Each had tested different aspects of his character, pushing him to confront his fears, his doubts, and his insecurities. And then it came to him. The answer was something that had been with him all along, something that had guided him through every challenge he had faced. "Faith," Liam said softly, his voice echoing in the temple. "It is faith that guides us, even when we cannot see the way." The moment he spoke the words, the temple seemed to come alive with light. The statues smiled, the symbols on the walls glowed brighter, and the chest on the altar opened with a soft click. Inside, Liam found a small ancient book, its pages filled with writings that seemed to pulse with energy. As he picked up the book, the voice spoke again, this time with warmth and approval. "You have passed the final test, Liam. The truth you seek is not in the book, but within yourself. The compass has led you here not to give you answers, but to help you find your own. Your journey does not end here. It is only the beginning." Liam nodded, understanding dawning on him. The journey had been about discovering his own strength, his own wisdom, and his own ability to shape his destiny. The compass had been a guide, but the true power had always been within him. With the book in hand, Liam left the temple, stepping into the bright light of the dawn. The mountain stretched out before him, vast and endless, but he felt no fear. He was ready to face whatever lay ahead, knowing that the truth he sought was something he would carry with him, always. And so, with the compass still in his hand, Liam continued on his journey, ready to embrace the challenges and adventures that awaited him, knowing that he had everything he needed to find his way. I hope you enjoyed the story and found the lessons valuable. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I look forward to sharing more stories with you in the future. Until next time, this is Ethan, your story narrator, signing off. The characters and events you've seen are entirely fictional. This video presentation is intended to demonstrate how AI technology can be used to create talking videos for various applications. Thank you for watching.